T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
We're going to jump right into it. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Rocking the free world here on the Game Plus Television Network. Yeah, I'm sounding a little croaky. Playing injured again today. I think I'll pull through. I think I can handle talking sports for the next 2 hours with you all. Jersey Jim's going to drop by an hour or two and help us out. The guy's got more scoops than Baskin-Robbins. That's right. He's got more scoops than Haagen-Dazs. Jersey Jim from NHL Full Press at NHLRumors.com. And oh boy, there are a lot of rumors out there. Looking forward to that chat. So settle in. It is Wednesday. You know what that means. It means it's just you and me for all of hour one, where I get to be the Larry King of sports here on the RP Show on Game Plus TV. I didn't write any names down. I'd have to. Roger in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania. Hello, you're on the air. That's what we're going to do for the next hour. If there's any names you want to have me read, I'm up for that. Like I said, we're going to jump right into it. It is April Fool's as we get rolling for the warm-up here for Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. And before we get too serious, if we get any serious at all, it would have been probably a better poll question than the one that I actually did come up with today. A good poll question I'll put to you right now is April Fool's still a thing? Because quite frankly, I thought COVID killed it and social media's killed it. But you know what? Maybe not. So as we get rolling here in this opening segment as a quickie, I'll get to more of the NHL from last night, NFL news from the owners' meetings in Phoenix. Tiger Woods is going into treatment. They used to call it rehab. Now they call it treatment because it sounds better. It's the same thing. I do obviously have some thoughts on that. But what are some April Fool's jokes that have tickled your fancy today, if you don't mind? Because I've actually seen a few. I thought it was over. I would have voted, is April Fool's still a thing? I would have initially said no, but thanks to some good-spirited souls out there, I would now have to vote yes. A couple of things that I saw, and tell me if you saw these things, because I am not spending nearly as much time on social media as I had been, and that's a very good thing. And that's going to relate to some things I want to talk about here with the Panthers and Linus Ullmark and Keith Pelley, the MLSE president, and all the rest. But a couple of things I saw this morning that actually made me LOL. Number one was the BC Lions. As I say, the official travel partner of the BC Lions is Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They said that Nathan Rourke is retiring from the Canadian Football League to pursue a pro flag football career. Yet you had me for like 0.75 seconds. That was that's good. That's good from the BC Lions. And then another one was out of Calgary. And some very good friends of ours, Ryan Pike and the guys at Flames Nation, got to know those guys real well with all the time they always spent in Calgary. They said the construction has been paused on Scotiabank Center, or whatever the hell they're calling the new rink there, Scotiabank Place in Calgary. The arena needs to be moved 3 feet to the left. They didn't have me at all on that one. No. But it's good. It's still good. It's harmless. It's good, clean fun. So way to go, guys at Flames Nation. Again, anybody tell me what you've seen. And there's one more. Daryl Jones is a really good friend of mine. He was former owner of the Arizona Coyotes. He was in that Ice Edge Arizona group. Remember the 10 guys from Canada? Those kooky 10 guys from Canada that all were part of the ownership group of the NHL's Arizona Coyotes. Daryl was one, former Weyburn Red Wing. And he, every year, he posts on his social media that he's purchasing this local junior hockey team in his town. So you didn't get me, Daryl. You didn't get me, but good try. And as I sit here and we roll in the opening segment of the warm-up brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, I have a lot of notes that I'm going to get to here right now, or not now, throughout the course of the program, before and after Jersey Jim joins us in hour two. Some of the best April Fool's jokes that have gone by. Like I say, I don't know, man. Tell me if you think I'm on to something or I'm on something. But I feel like the world's coming around. We all kind of lost our sense of humor, and everybody got all ticked off and revved up during COVID. Maybe is it coming back a little bit? Are we starting to get a little common sense? We're starting to be able to laugh a little bit. I sense that. Certainly that's happening in my life. I hope that it is in yours. So anyways, Monty, you need to fix your attitude. Monty in Saskatoon, you need to fix your attitude. I'm going to tell you that right now. Your poopy pants attitude will not be tolerated here today. Carlos in Indiana writes in, says, hello, Rod Squad. Heard some goalies got into a fight last night. Oh, yes, they did. Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers and Jacob Markstrom of the New Jersey Devils. It was funny because I was here in Sunrise at the Panthers-Senators game, and trust me, I got a lot of thoughts on that. And the video was going around real fast. And I also saw the stat that this is the most goalie fights in 1 year in the National Hockey League in 22 years. We've had 3 of them, and they've all been pretty good. The exciting thing is I've been in attendance for 2 of those. Jeremy Swayman and Vazzy in the Stadium Series game in Tampa Bay in February. And, of course, Sergei Bobrovsky and Alex Nedeljkovic, Panthers and Sharks here right around the new year. So, yeah, you're right, Carlos. The goalies have been a little ticked off. Hang on. Where's John Ohm has checked in. He's got a few comments. John, welcome. Your Winnipeg Jets winning again. That was one of the 6 games I had correctly picked last night of the National Hockey League. The Jets beating the Chicago Blackhawks. There is hope. There's hope in Winnipeg. What is 6 points out of a playoff? Faint hope. But the Jets won last night over Chicago. Tony writing in from Cochrane, Alberta. He says, perhaps 13 years later, the Toronto Maple Leafs are ready for Brian Burke 2.0. Does this sound familiar? Quote, we require as a team proper levels of pugnacity, testosterone, truculence, and belligerence, unquote. The Leafs GM search is front and center in the news cycle, and we're going to talk about that when we come back, and everybody's poo-pooing Keith Pelley, who I know personally, did he misspeak yesterday, the president of MLSE? Maybe. We'll dig into that. 902-518-3033. On the April Fool's joke. I can see this from you, Tony. Tony writes in, he says, years ago, I used to get my wife every year putting saran wrap beneath the seat and covering the toilet bowl. You prankster. That's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's maybe it's coming back. April Fool's. For God's sakes, I hope it is. When we come back, we'll get into the NHL from last night, the MLB story, Tigers going to rehab, NFL meetings. We have a lot to get to. It's just you and me all of hour 1, so get the comments flowing, everybody. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time?
Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edge-of-your-seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. For those that joined us late, it's the RP Show. It's just you and me for all of hour one. That's me and the viewers and listeners, so you can get your questions and comments in now. Now is the time of the day to do it. 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. And also, this is the warm-up, the quick six show topics brought to you by Neil Chark and the crew at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. I'm going to tell you, watching Toronto play baseball in Rogers Centre is a bucket list item. You got to do it if you haven't. This summer's the time. They're leading the American League East, as you can see, at 4-1. Relax, let Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel handle all the details. August 14th to the 17th, 3 nights hotel, round-trip flights, 2 Toronto baseball games against New York, and a Canadian football game, Sask at Hamilton on the Sunday. So it's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. The numbers are on the screen. You can connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. And the first point, the only thing that we've gotten into was that it's April Fool's Day today, and I'm just asking if anybody got you with any zingers, and I just want to say bravo to the BC Lions, who had me for about a little less than a second, that their star quarterback Nathan Rourke is retiring from the CFL to go to pursue a pro flag football career. You almost got me. And that was the best one that I've seen. There have been others. Kudos to all those that tried. I actually didn't think anybody had a sense of humor anymore, so I didn't post anything. And it's too late now. Maybe next year. Okay, point 2. That's good. Enough Mickey Mousing. Tuesday night of the National Hockey League, Juraj Slafkovsky, Cole Caulfield, and Mike Matheson each had a goal and an assist. Jakub Dobish made 36 saves. And the visiting Montreal Canadiens won their 6th game in a row by beating the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1. Oddly enough, I had that one right. I was 6 of 10 of picks yesterday for our friends at Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn. I didn't have this one right. Noah Gregor scored 8 seconds into the game, and the Florida Panthers added 4 more before the NHL game was 15 minutes old, en route to a 6-3 victory over the visiting Ottawa Senators. Trust me, I'm going to get to the Leafs mess and Keith Pelly in a second, but I want to straighten something out here. And kudos to the Florida Panthers for getting me, because not a lot of people do. We all know the hubbub, what's going on with the Ottawa Senators and their goalie, Linus Ullmark. Missed Saturday's game. This is a story serious enough that you can't just casually follow it, okay? He's had mental health issues documented, well-publicized already this season. Didn't play Saturday night. His coach, Travis Green, said he felt that he needed the night off, needed a rest So he comes in and plays last night, gives up the first goal 8 seconds in. On the way to allowing 5 goals in the first period, he gets pulled. And from the Panthers side of things, and we'll be doing the Cats and Bolts podcast later today, by the way, for those that are so inclined, they're not thinking about the Ottawa Senators. They had a great time in the old hockey game last night. It was Pride Night in the rink, and the Panthers were filling the net, chased Linus Ullmark, and after the game, Paul Maurice addressed the media as he always does. I was standing right beside him, and he talked about how it's been tough lately. They just came off the New York trip where they got waxed, regulation losses there, and how this felt real good to win the game last night, and said this was a good mental health win for the Panthers. Didn't think anything of that. I made that the headline on the post that I put on social media, and all of a sudden this Ottawa, people are going nuts about this. And I'm like, what? They took that Paul Maurice was throwing shade at the Ottawa goalie. That's the new term, everybody, for, I guess, trolling would be the best way to say it. He's not thinking about Linus Ullmark. He's an NHL coach in tunnel vision, thinking about his team, and that's all. So I get up this morning, there's 34,000 views on Twitter alone of the Paul Maurice clip talking about this, and people then, Ottawa Senators Daily podcast or blog or whatever is making a big deal out of this and tagging Jeff O'Neill at TSN and blah, blah, blah. He's not talking about Linus Ullmark. And that's what I was kind of been getting at the last couple of days is a lot of these nincompoops are taking the fun out of this and causing a lot of problems, to be honest, but taking a lot of the fun out of it. Anyways, so that's what I wanted to clarify. And I was afraid that the Florida Panthers were going to bring up my phone today and say, what are you trying to start something? But they know, this is my 5th season covering the team. They know that I wouldn't do that. And their PR staff was all right there when he said it. This is in no way linked to the Ottawa Senators or Linus Ullmark. So smarten up. I'll just say smarten up. Okay. From the audience, as I go solo style here on hour 1, and it always goes so fast. Scott in Vancouver writes in and he says, did you hear Kipper's report that Patrick Allvin might be done at the end of the year? I didn't hear the report. My God, we are swimming in an ocean of speculation, opinions, and gobbledygook. I didn't see Nick Kyprios's, but would you be surprised? The Canucks were dead last in the NHL this season. They are the first team eliminated. So if they're going to fire the general manager, would you be surprised? I'm surprised Kipper's the only guy saying it. Ew, I didn't know this. Brent in Wellington, Florida, who is now the co-host of the Cats and Bolts podcast, writes in. He says the Panthers lost 3 more bodies last night as well. Ekblad, Kulikov, and Sabrango. Fire up the jet from Charlotte. That's the other thing. Again, this is not the Panthers show. That's why I started our own show to talk about that. But I was discussing this with some of the Panthers broadcasters last night. The Panthers are getting accused of tanking because they've slipped inside the bottom 10 picks, or however you want to look at it. They'll have a shot to get Gavin McKenna, the number 1 overall pick in the draft lottery. And I'm like, wow, the Panthers are getting accused of tanking. And the one broadcaster I talked to, I don't want to out him, but he just goes, that's fans. Dagnabbit, you're right. I've quite proudly said that I follow fans on social media, but I'm about to unfollow a lot because anybody with any credibility is not accusing the Florida Panthers of tanking. They've now got 12 players hurt. 12. So anyways, we'll talk about that later on the Cats and Bolts podcast. On this April Fool's Day, Utah Darren writes in. He says, my aunt got me one year by convincing me in a heavily disguised voice she was moving in not only horses to my pasture, but also a family in a tent. Had me going for 10 minutes on the phone. Well, people losing their sense of humor isn't new or necessarily COVID related. I will tell you one story for the folks back home. The hockey arena in our hometown, when I say our, me and Brent here from Wellington, Florida, we're both born in the Queen City. was called the Agrodome. And I said in the 90s, one of my big April Fool's jokes. I used to go so elaborate with April Fool's jokes. I loved it so much. I loved just pulling guys' legs. We said that the Agrodome has entered into an agreement with Macintosh Computers for the naming rights of the arena, the home of the Regina Pats, and we're going to call it the Mac Arena. People were calling the radio station, complaining, angry, ready to burn the rink down. I'm like, oh my God, it's a joke. How does that get you upset? But it did. It is April Fool's. Let's have some fun. Tony from Cochrane says, best one was I asked her to marry me on April 1st for real. But I thought I could always back out if I had to by calling it April Fool's. Married 43 years now. Going out for dinner tonight to celebrate. And her name is Jolene. I'll never forget it. One of my favorite country songs. Jolene, Jolene. So thank you, Tony. By the way, congratulations on all that. Where are you going for dinner tonight? Before I move on to the other topics, 902-518-3033 is the text line, proudly brought to you by Western Dodge. Mentioned the goalie fights last night. Oh, my God. The text line's going crazy. Y'all found me. I'm alone. You know you can get me here now. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, goalie fights are proving goalies are people too. Well, they say the NHL is a copycat league. And I guess these goalies want to get on the highlights. The most goalie fights in 22 years we've had. Lucky us. Hopefully there are no more. And I say that because it needs to stay special. Noni writes in from the YYC. She says, morning, Rod, listening to you on YouTube while I pack up to head back to Calgary. So we'll be paying more attention to sports and your show in particular. Thanks for being so entertaining and informative. We try. We do have that personal relationship with our viewers, there's no doubt. Noni's been in Mexico for quite some time. I've been enjoying watching her exploits down in Mexico. I'll tell you this. I don't see any need for me personally to go to Mexico because living in Florida is like living in Mexico every day. But we have ESPN and the NHL and U.S. currency. I'm good. Jim in Balgoni writes in, says, morning, RP and RP Nation. I sure hope that humor is coming back to our world. With all the craziness around, it's either laugh or cry. Love the show and the lighthearted nature it brings. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. I'll pause these comments for a second, and I'm not going to be able to get to them all, I don't think, but maybe. That should not stop you from writing in, though. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. But our poll question, I'm going to skip ahead in the quick six show topics here. I haven't even got to MLB, Tiger Woods, NFL. I haven't got to any of that. The poll question is, what is tonight's game of the night in the NHL? That's always an easy one to go with, especially when there's a night like tonight, there's only 3 games. And your games are Vancouver at Colorado, St. Louis at L.A., Anaheim at San Jose. Leading the poll is the correct answer. Ducks at Sharks tonight. And it is brought to you by our friends at Country Thunder. And I'm just going to tell you this. Talk about humor coming back and everything coming back. This partnership with Country Thunder that business manager Joe Gunnis has brought about and the great people at Country Thunder just makes my heart feel good. I'm reconnecting with people from our past, decades and decades ago, in a really great, positive way. And that includes Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the year. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed. Plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. You can get yours by just putting down $20 for the weekend pass. So, and Joe was talking about us broadcasting live from Craven. I'm like, you know what? Why the hell not? Oh, and speaking of, when I say this is all coming together, I ain't joking, okay? This is woo-woo stuff, I know. Don't get freaked out. But Jamie Heward is coming on the program tomorrow, assistant coach of the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League, Henderson, Nevada. He is in the ownership group of Country Thunder, has been for years. And I'll just stop there. But Huey's coming on tomorrow, okay, from the pup line. And just this whole connection from our past, a very positive one. A lot of Lakeview residents and neighbors. Things are good. I'm enjoying 2026 so far. I hope you all are too. What are we talking about here? Oh, the goalie fights. Brenton Wellington says, look at what Bob started. Seems like now they know they don't get tossed. Now that they know they don't get kicked out, they're all becoming enforcers. I'll never forget it because, Brent, you weren't there. That was the night of the national championship. Nobody around here was watching. They're all watching the Hurricanes and the Natty. And Bob was hanging it on Ned from the Sharks. Again, 2026 has been pretty good in a lot of ways. We'll continue this when we come back. It's the RP Show, and you're watching on the Game Plus Television Network.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Pedersen Developments Limited.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, taking care of business on this Wednesday on the RP Show. We'll try to stay on topic. We're getting a little off topic. That's on me. But there's a lot of interesting things to talk about aside from what you're going to see on SportsCenter today. We're brought to you in part by Tony Plater, Outlaw Communications in Hour 1, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. And, of course, the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. The Junior Hockey Report. Yes, Monty, we saw the Blades won last night. The Pats lost last night. The Raiders won last night. So we're following it all at WHL.ca. Junior Hockey Report, the Hockey Report, every day for the Mad Greek Eatery. For legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late-night bites, it's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. But everybody gets excited about the goalie fights. I feel like that is like birthday cake. You don't ever get tired of it. I could have it every day. I could have goalie fights every day. And the guys are writing in here about Billy Smith, the legendary Billy Smith. And when I think of Billy Smith, I think of a lot of things. And I get why this show is popular with the older people, because you all remember Billy Smith, the battling Billy Smith of the New York Islanders. And two things come to mind. Number one, he didn't just fight goalies. I just saw a video the other day of him fighting Lanny McDonald. Did you all see that? Number two, I cried not uncontrollably, but openly at UBS Arena in Long Island on Saturday when I was at the rink, and I looked up at the banners of the retired numbers of Brian Trottier, Clark Gillies, Denny Potvin, all these guys. And Clark and I were real close. It was the Pats thing, I think. But anyways, I did this banquet with Brian Trottier, Clark Gillies, and Mike Bossy. It was like Islanders fan nirvana. And I was back, it was my past job, so I was doing my radio show in the afternoon, 4 till 6 before the banquet. So, of course, Clark and Trottier come down to go on the radio with me for 2 solid hours and just tell stories. And I said, hey, are we going to get Bossy on the show? And they said, hey, nothing against the boss. He's a great guy. But if the dinner starts at 7, which it does, Boss will walk in at 6:59. And if we need to be there till 11, Boss will leave at 11:01. I feel like I told this story a few months ago on this show. That's just what he is. And then they were right. At 6:59, Bossy shows up, but we had a great time. The stories were unbelievable. And Mike Bossy told this story. This is what came to mind. Was of showering with Billy Smith after the Islanders game, and he wore a toupee, Billy Smith. And they said somebody wanted to play a joke on him, so they yelled his name, and Billy turned in the shower, and his toupee fell over his face. And the place goes nuts. It's not like Mike Bossy isn't funny. He's just not going to be on the stage at 2 a.m. with his tie around his head playing the guitar like Clark and Trottier. We're made a little different. Mark in Melfort writes in on goalie fights. He goes, the Pats versus Wheat Kings when Ron Hextall was their goalie. Lots of fights with Hextall versus Pats goalies and players. But also was not against another goalie. I have the video of that on my phone. When Hextall, El Cabong, tomahawked Brad Wells over the Brad or Brian Wells, one of the two. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I think the fact we don't see it every day is why we enjoy it. Oh, for sure. That's why it's so special. That's why we can't ruin these things by too much. But in today's society, it's just more of everything. Look at the NFL. Joe Lazito is watching on Long Island. He writes in, he says, those banners at UBS still bring a tear to the eye of this guy, too. If I get started telling my sons about the glory days, it gets dusty in here real quick. Well, I hope for their sake those days come back. Taylor writes in. He says, I had a dream last night. The Flames won the cup. Then had a small tear in my eye, realizing it was just a dream. I don't know what to say about that. Similar to John Ohm writing in earlier on the program and says, Wearing a Blackhawk shirt today, Rod? Yes. Yes, I am. Quick 6 show topics. Point 3. Jesus Sanchez had an RBI single in the 5th inning, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. followed up with a bases-loaded walk, and the Toronto Blue Jays never looked back in a 5-1 win over the visiting Colorado Rockies. Max Scherzer gave up a run on 4 hits and a walk, striking out 4 over 6 innings as the Jays improved to 4-1. Rockies slipped to 1-4. Let me ask you this. For all those people, maybe Kevin the Medium's watching, because he's one of them, said, I'm going to watch more Blue Jays baseball this year. Well, of course, they went to the World Series last year. The Blue Jays are hot, hot, hot. Registration is up in Canada, exploding for minor league baseball because the Jays are hot. I'm just wondering, we are not even a week in, or is everybody still watching as much Blue Jays baseball? And I only ask that because it's a commitment. It's a commitment. I'm at this state of my life in the calendar where I'm just checking the scores. Although I will say last night, George Richards runs the TV in the press box at Sunrise at the American Bank Arena at Panthers games. He owns and operates FloridaHockeyNow.com. He's flipping through the channels last night, and I see Hazel May and Shai Davidi on there. I'm like, whoa. I was going to tell him to stop, but I'm like, it's not my TV. Oh, point 4. Tiger Woods says he'll step away and seek treatment after his SUV crash in Florida. This came down last night during the hockey game, but where I was at. That's when I got the notification. Tiger made his comments Tuesday, 4 days after the crash that led to his arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence. Woods pleaded not guilty in his DUI case. The plea came hours after a sheriff's report said he had pain pills in his pocket and showed signs of impairment at the crash scene. It's not odd, but I've had so many people asking me about this for a variety of reasons, and I kind of understand why. I'm a sports guy. I work in the addiction field, so I get it. But I mean, I kind of feel like it's Tiger's business more than anything. But as I said in my commentary today, I can't go anywhere without this Tiger Woods news in my face. Whether it's on the televisions and open my phone or open my email and it's on the yahoo.com first thing. There's always something new on Tiger there. I just want to make it clear to everybody, my point, because so many are asking, is this is not a sad story per se that Tiger's entering treatment for this problem that he has. Because when it happened on Friday, all weekend, people were saying to me, what do you think about Tiger? What do you think about Tiger? What I thought was he's clearly a very troubled guy. Period. Pretty much to the letter, any person with substance abuse issues is. So more than anything, I was like, I hope he gets the help he needs. And as of Tuesday night, he said he's going to seek the help that he needs. So that's the positive. Yeah, the whole situation is sad, but if he goes into treatment, which we used to call rehab, but they don't anymore because it has a negative connotation, and trust me, I get it. But if he goes in there and he comes out a new man, like all these people, players that have gone into the NHL Player Assistance Program, I'm not going to name the names, but you know the name. I'll give a good example. Last night is Connor Ingram. For the Oilers last night, he went into the program twice, I believe, and he had a shutout last night for the Oilers, 3-0 over Seattle. It was the 4th goalie I saw in NHL history to get a shutout on their birthday. This is a great story. It's a fantastic story. Spencer Knight's another. Went into the program here with Florida. He's doing great things with Chicago. So that's my take. And the other thing is, everybody thinks Tiger's got all this money. He's Tiger Woods. Life must be great. Well, we were talking about this in the press box last night at the Panthers game. He is dating Donald Trump Jr.'s ex-wife. You think there might be a little bit of drama involved in that whole scenario? They all say it's great. They're all politicians. Everything's great. Ask any politician. We're just going to pause because I feel like we're not done on that topic. We have a sports update coming up. We have viewer takeover the rest of the way, and I would like to hear from you. 902-518-3033. Scott in Vancouver, hello. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV and WQVZ Radio.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the RP Show. Smiling because you all are making me smile. I'm making myself smile. It's April Fool's Day, and actually, I don't know if you were in a good mood or not when you got out of bed. I was in a fantastic mood when I got out of bed today. What the heck? Panthers game was a lot of fun last night. Saw my great friends. I did not participate in any April Fool's jokes today because I thought that was over. And all of a sudden, I see some really good ones today. I'll say it again. I haven't seen anything better yet. BC Lions saying today that Nathan Rourke's retiring to go pursue a pro flag football career. I was like, what? Oh, I didn't even need to check the calendar on that one. There are others, but that was the best. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're getting our sense of humor back. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in and says, he goes, hey, Rod, the thing that gets me is back in the day, the late night shows used to be funny. But since most of them have gone political, I don't watch them anymore. I don't watch them at all either. It ended with Letterman, but I'll tell you, for me, when he walked away, I walked away. I'm like, it's not going to get better. It hasn't gotten better. But I'll tell you what, skedaddling around New York on the weekend, you think about Letterman a lot and all those scenes we saw, on his show. Being there, I'm like, yeah, yep. It's pretty cool. Oh, this was fun too. Kirk in Toronto writes in about the little nugget that I dropped yesterday. And you're going to be hearing more and more about this, but I'm part of the group bringing back Roller Hockey International. And trust me, I was talking about this with a guy in the gym the other day. Ralph, great guy, said a wise man learns from his mistakes. A wiser man learns from others' mistakes. I learned from my own mistakes in that I'm not repeating or reporting anything on this roller hockey league without prior consent from the owners, okay? So I said, is it okay if I divulge that we're bringing back RHI 2.0, Roller Hockey International? That was the pro inline hockey league. They played in NHL arenas in the 90s, Anaheim, Vancouver, Ottawa, Calgary, Chicago, San Jose, and they're like, yeah, go ahead. Part of the reason I was worried is, the whole trademark thing and all that, but they're like, we own it. We own it. We owned it 30 years ago. We own it now. Nobody can steal it. You're good. And so Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, my late brother played roller hockey during the summers in Mimico at the long-gone Mimicombo roller rink back in the late 60s, early 70s. Played hockey year-round, roller in the summer, ice in the winter. And it's funny, when I had my first meeting with the people a couple of weeks ago in West Palm Beach, they were like, why are you interested in this? And I'm like, because I love it. I was working in hockey in the 90s. I was following it closely. I had friends that played in the league. I think it's cool as hell. You're in. And am on the committee of finding our next commissioner. I believe we found him. It's going to be so much fun. Joe Lazzato on Long Island writes in and says, RHI 2.0, to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, hell yeah. I was telling the guys in the press box last night at the Panthers-Senators game, and their faces. Wow, Bill Lindsay's one. Mr. Panther. I'm telling him, I said, you should see your face right now, Bill. You're as excited as we all are about this thing coming back. That's going to be great. So you'll be hearing more about it here. Talking about the Blue Jays, and I said, are you still watching, those of you that said that you were going to watch? I'm just asking. I'm not trying to hold your feet to the fire. Scott in Vancouver writes in, he says, takes me a bit to warm up to a new MLB season. I get it. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, I get serious about MLB on Canada Day. I get serious about MLB in mid-September if the Blue Jays are contending and then into the playoffs. And what really sucked for me was, and it didn't suck, but when I got into the Canadian Football League full-time, you don't understand. You're covering a pro sports team to the degree that I did, you don't have time for anything else in your life, period. Something had to go. And for me, it was the Blue Jays and MLB. And it sucked, but I had a job to do. They were playing in the same time in the summer. I just didn't have time. So it's nice to have a little more time to follow that stuff. John says 38,090 fans at the Blue Jays game. Impressive. Oh, they're making a lot of money. They're doing everything right. Clearly, you're following it, so that's good. And are you watching the games? Oh, back to the Tiger Woods thing. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, it must be hard when you are the center of attention at every PGA tournament to a quieter life. Scott in Vancouver says he could have beat all of Nicklaus's records. Women throwing themselves at him. Here's the thing. It's not just about being the center of attention. He's the center of attention everywhere he goes 24/7. That's just a Tiger thing. Wayne Gretzky's lived it. When you are that pinnacle of your sport, you don't get a second off. A lot of stress that goes along with that for these guys. Trust me, I know. And it's funny how, okay, well, I'll say it because I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, should I say it? Should I not? But when I said with the Country Thunder coming on board, partnering with this show, and Jamie Heward coming on tomorrow, and he's part of the ownership group, and they're friends with Janice. I was thinking about Janice, who's been on this show twice from Wilson 4Q and her emotional fitness program. Because I'm sitting there thinking, what if Tiger had been able to go through that while he was building up his career? Maybe a lot of this pain could have been prevented. Because that's what she's doing with her program now that she's developing. And actually, as the more I learned, she's far more, she's not just an idea. She's far down the road of doing it. So in the mental health realm, I work with the guys that are pretty much wrecked. Yeah. We're just trying to get them back on the road to live a life. She's trying to prevent the wreck. And in the case of Tiger, it's the perfect, not even a metaphor. And she's dealing with the high-level athletes and the kids, and it's pretty impressive, actually. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Hey, by the way, we don't mention this enough. The hottest RP Show merch is just a click away. Visit rodpeterson.com. Click on RP Show store. The sports update that I promised. There are 3 games in the NHL tonight, including one in Denver, where the league-leading Colorado Avalanche host the last-place Vancouver Canucks. The St. Louis Blues visit the Kings, and the San Jose Sharks meet the Anaheim Ducks. The roller hockey team back in the day that played out of that rink, the Honda Center, was called the Anaheim Bullfrogs. Remember that? Anyways, that's our poll today for Country Thunder. What's the game of the night in the NHL? And running away with it, Sharks and Ducks. Sharks 2 points, I believe, out of a playoff spot as we sit here today. It's funny because all these games, it would be nice if the teams won every game, wouldn't it? It's just not going to happen. I'm sitting there last night with Ottawa and sitting beside Alex Baumgartner from CBS Sports Network. And I'm like, which team here is the one battling for their playoff life? As the Panthers were beating the brakes off them to the tune of 6-3 last night. The Toronto Raptors host the Sacramento Kings tonight. Toronto coming off a 127-116 loss in Detroit, while the Kings arrive after a 116-99 defeat to Brooklyn and have dropped 4 in a row. Canada's Matt Dunstone is back on the ice twice today at the World Men's Curling Championship in Ogden, Utah. The Canadian ranks 6-2 after 2 wins Tuesday, faces first-place Switzerland in the morning draw in Czechia in the evening session. The 48-team field for June's FIFA World Cup is set after more than 2 years of qualifying. Iraq claimed the final spot with a 2-1 playoff win over Bolivia, while Congo secured the second-to-last berth with a 1-0 extra-time victory over Jamaica. Also qualifying on Tuesday were Bosnia and Herzegovina, which will open the tournament in Toronto against co-host Canada, along with Sweden, Turkey, and Czechia. And that is your sports update brought to you by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone. Your team, your colors, your gear. Get it all at Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. And just, again, to tie that all back in, as I say, where I bring the Janice thing into it is she's friends with that old crew from our hometown, and that's what brought her onto this show. And it's just really cool. And Jamie Heward, friends with Janice and his wife Tisha, works with Janice in the emotional fitness world. Jamie's going to be on the program tomorrow from Henderson, Nevada. He's an assistant coach with the Henderson Silver Knights in the hour 2 time slot. But by the way, today, that spot filled out by Jersey Jim Biringer. I didn't barely get to any of this Leafs talk and what Keith Pelly, the president of MLSC, said yesterday. Jim's got a lot of thoughts on that, so we will get to that next hour. His appearance brought to you by Prairie Panels. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, whether it's for agricultural buildings, shop construction, or commercial projects. Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you're looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, be sure to check them out, prairiepanels.ca. As it is April Fool's Day, I had written down to talk about some of my April Fool's jokes gone past. And these were all local Saskatchewan things. But I said the Rough Riders were going to get an expansion team in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. The CFL's Rough Riders were going to get a Junior A team. They're going to call them the Rough Riders. Just like the Sioux Falls Rough Riders and the USHL. Or Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Very, very big money guy. I'm not going to name him. Oil guy called me. I want in. Which is kind of actually what's going on with our roller hockey league. There's a lot of big money guys. I want in. The thing is, that's not an April Fool's joke. But I said to the guy, Craig, check the calendar. Click. He hung up on me. Jersey Gym next hour. And a lot of fun sports talk on an April Fool's edition when we come back here on Game Plus Television.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
I will echo the words of Rick Regan. How about that? It's an interesting week in sports. They all are. It's April Fool's Day, by the way, which I believe the magic of April Fool's Day expires at noon, though it's long gone, but at least we've had some April Fool's magic today, which I'm going to talk about in a second. We welcome viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports. Another night off for the Golden Knights, 1-0 under John Tortorella. And a night off for a lot of NHL teams. Hi, it's hour 2 on the Game Plus Television Network. Our guest today is Jersey Jim Biringer. He'll be coming up in the next segment from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. And boy, oh boy, are the rumors flying like crazy about who the next general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs will be. I don't believe we think there will be another coach firing before the end of the regular season, but who the hell knows? Today would not be the best day to announce that. Everybody would think it's April Fool's, which I guess let's start on it. April Fool's Day. That was going to be my poll question and probably should have been. Brought to you by Country Thunder, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. Headlined by Lainey Wilson. Follow the Rod Pedersen Show Facebook page for your chance to win passes to Country Thunder. What's the game of the night in the NHL tonight is the actual poll question. What I was thinking of, though, is April Fool's still a thing? I didn't think it was a thing anymore. But I saw some pretty elaborate jokes that literally made me laugh out loud today and got me for a brief second. Like the CFL's BC Lions, who said that their star quarterback, Nathan Rourke, is retiring to pursue a career in flag football. I'm like, huh? Oh, wait, ding, got me. And the one that I'm going to say again is my friend Daryl Jones. He was one of the owners of the Arizona Coyotes. Remember when those 10 kooky Canadians bought the Arizona Coyotes? Well, at the time, the Phoenix Coyotes. Daryl Grant Jones had a thing every year. He says that he's buying the local junior hockey team. We're like, Daryl, get a new one. At least he's still trying. I'm glad to know that April Fool's has not gone the way of the dodo. I feel like everything's coming back, and I hope that it is. I hope the good things are coming back. And that reminds me, we're not really staying on topic per se here. Most days we at least try. But this does not surprise me. It really caught people's interest when I said that I'm part of a group bringing back Roller Hockey International. The kids don't know what it is. Although, producer Corey, I got to give him credit. He's from Ottawa. He remembers it. It ran for 6 seasons in the 90s with teams all over North America. They played in NHL arenas. And we're bringing it back. And I met with a bunch of the team owners last 3 Saturdays ago. And it's moving fast. Rich in Edmonton writes in and says, roller hockey? Edmonton Sled Dogs. I miss the 90s. That's when they played, the 90s. And they were amazing. We're going to do it again. And the thing is, everybody remembers that league. It was so cool. ESPN2 aired the games, and TSN aired the games. Maybe these networks will air the games. Initially, I wondered, why are you guys interested in having me involved? And then they explained why. I'm like, oh, I can do that. That'll be fun. So here we are. But you talk about Edmonton. Hang on. I dipped in the comments there, and I shouldn't have. People are asking where the teams are going to be. It's changing every day. So I can't even tell you. I will say the initial footprints, 12 teams, but it's changing every day as to where those locales are. So stay tuned. You can go to rollerhockeyinternational.com right now and research any information you find interesting. It's going to be great. David #1 writes in from Winnipeg and says, hey, Rod, just curious if you're going to be checking out the Artemis 2 launch today at any point. Considering that I have no idea what that even is, that's a no from me, dog. Did I say it right? Producer Corey, are you there? Artemis? I don't even know what it is. So, sorry. And when I say jumping around, this was point 4, the quick 6 show topics, but I'll open with it, with #1, because literally everybody's talking about it. I don't necessarily know why, but Tiger Woods announced Tuesday evening, that he's stepping away and seeking treatment after his SUV crash in Florida. Tiger made his comments Tuesday, 4 days after the crash that led to his arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence. Woods pleaded not guilty in his DUI case. The plea came hours after his sheriff's report said he had pain pills in his pocket and showed signs of impairment at the crash scene. I guess, why is it such a big news? Everybody loves to see the crash. I don't know what that is. I'm not particularly comfortable really talking about it because I don't know Tiger Woods. I don't know the details of the substances that he's seeking treatment for. I don't really know much about it at all. I wish him well. The one thing I just want to make clear to everybody, because I entered recovery. I didn't go to treatment. I was directed to go, and I refused. And in retrospect, I should have gone, but we got to the same destination anyways. But it's a good story. It's a good story. That's the one thing that I want to make clear. Everybody's like, this is so tragic. Tiger. No, it's not. He's seeking help to clean up his life. Let's just hope that it's successful. And that's going to be on Tiger. And entirely on Tiger. That's who will decide whether this is a successful ending or not. And Utah Darren writes in, where the heck is it? I think it was, he says, Tiger Woods seems to have bigger issues than just the stress of being the best golfer of his generation. I'm glad that you noticed that, because so much of what goes on with these high-profile athletes, because those are the ones that I deal with, but also military and entertainers, is they are just people. They're just people with the same issues that you and I have, but to scale, and everybody sees them. That's stressful. Okay, where were we? Well, and speaking of all that, point two. If point one was Tiger Woods, point two is the NHL from Tuesday night. Juraj Slafkovsky, Goal Caulfield, they're calling him Goal Caulfield, and Mike Matheson each had a goal and a helper, and the Montreal Canadiens won in Tampa Bay 4-1. I was kind of hoping that they would be rolling through Sunrise, but they're not. It was just a in and out of Florida, one game for the Habs at Tampa. In Sunrise last night, Noah Gregor scored 8 seconds into the game. The Florida Panthers added 4 more before the game was 15 minutes old. Linus Ullmark got the hook. Ottawa's goalie. Panthers went on to win 6-3. Those were just 2 of 10 games in the NHL last night. I went 6 of 10 on my picks, which TK Win says we're in the money. Anything over 56%. I had that one wrong, though. I had Ottawa to win the game, but Linus Ullmark, frankly, took care of that. 8 seconds into the game, as I said, Noah Gregor scored for the Panthers, and they didn't look back. And I'll say it again, so for those that weren't listening in the back earlier, somebody tried to make an issue out of this. So the goalie for Ottawa, Linus Ullmark, his mental health issues have been pretty well publicized. Again, I'm not following it overly closely because I don't know the kid. I don't cover that team. I'm just seeing what's being reported. And last night, he blew up in the game and was pulled in the first period of a 5-0 loss. So after the game, Paul Maurice, the head coach of the Panthers, was asked about the game, obviously, and he just said this was a good mental health win for the Panthers because it's been a tough go. They got 12 players, legit now, 12 players out of their regular lineup hurt. 12. And they've been losing. And last night they looked really good. And I'm sitting in the press box with my cronies, and I'm like, which team's the one battling for the playoff spot here? But the people in Ottawa, for whatever reason, and it's you can't even call it mainstream media. I don't even know what you would call them. From podcasts that probably aren't even credentialed, going, oh, he's throwing shade at Linus Ullmark, that this is a mental health win for the Panthers. I'm like, he's not even thinking about Linus Ullmark. He's not thinking about the Ottawa Senators. He's only thinking about his team, period. They needed something to feel good about, the Florida Panthers, and they did by beating Ottawa. If Paul Maurice is aware of the Linus Ullmark situation, knows about as much probably as I do, what we're seeing in the media. And the back and forth is just out of control with what's being reported. I don't even know what's right or not. Although I did have a talk with a Senators media person. It ain't good up there. It ain't good. But I think Stevie Wonder could see that. And the other thing that I'm actually particularly enjoying, not enjoying, but I'm finding it entertaining, is this Toronto Maple Leafs situation with the new general manager that they're looking for. And the president of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, Keith Pelly, talking to the media on Tuesday, saying this is the most important hire of his tenure. It will be the most important hire of his tenure. And a couple things on that. I'll just put this out front right now. I know Keith not well, but I've had one-on-one conversations with him several over the years. He was the president of the Toronto Argonauts. We sat on the bench during warm-up at the Skydome when the Riders played the Argos and just talked about life and sports. And he's a Ryerson grad and knew him from Sportsnet because I worked there. I like Keith a lot. He's a very sharp guy, but he's getting nailed to the cross for saying that they, the MLSE muckety-mucks, didn't see that Montreal and Buffalo were going to be as good as they are this year. And it's just, and then you got TSN's Darren Dreger reporting that those two teams, the Sabres and Canadiens, were upset that Keith Pelly referenced. Who cares? Who cares? If you're going to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs. If you're going to turn around the Titanic, you're going to hit a few icebergs. I hope Keith Pelly does not care what Montreal or Buffalo think. And by the way, he was being complimentary to them. But yeah, my phone's been blowing up today from sports people. Did you see what Pelly said? He's just being honest. I don't know if Keith Pelly's going to be successful as the president of MLSE. Nobody has been. On the hockey side, they've won NBA championships. Nobody cares because it's not the Leafs. Multiple Grey Cup victories. Nobody even noticed. The tough part for Keith Pelly is he is not a hockey guy. He came from broadcasting school. What I respect about him is he literally started at the bottom, basically sweeping floors, interning, and has worked his way all the way to the top legitimately by being a sharp guy, treating people well, and I hope it works out for him. But it hasn't worked out for anybody. I don't know who would be successful in that role. When you're going to sit there and be honest, which is what we all want you to be, and then you're just going to be drawn and quartered from neck to navel, what do you want? It is 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. As I said yesterday, this worked out good too. Visualize that place where you want to be and live there mentally. Everything else will catch up. It works. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Again, it's for Western Dodge. David, number 2, writes in from Winnipeg. He says, FYI, Artemis is the latest space program for NASA. Thank you. Not on my radar. Oh, thank you, Wayne in BC, getting me back on track of baseball. Speaking of baseball, the Rod Pedersen Show, proud to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show. They're also the official travel partner of the BC Lions. Calling all Canadian sports fans, although Neil would like you Americans to listen up as well. Join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th, staying right in the heart of the city. This unbeatable package includes round-trip flights from your hometown, 3 nights accommodation, plus 2 exciting baseball games, Toronto versus New York, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, CFL, Saskatchewan and Hamilton. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. By the time this show airs in Nevada, the A's will have already played at Atlanta. The Blue Jays will already have played against Colorado. So I'll just make a quick note of the fact that Jesus Sanchez had an RBI single in the 5th inning, and Vladdy followed up with a bases-loaded walk, and the Blue Jays never looked back in a 5-1 win over the visiting Colorado Rockies Tuesday night. Jays atop the AL East at 4-1, tied with the New York Yankees. I was just putting it out there for the viewers, that for those that said that they were going to watch way more baseball this year because the Jays are hot, We're not even a week in. I'm wondering if you are still watching as much as it said you were going to, because it is a commitment. And if you're not, that's totally fine. I absolutely get it. I'm just saying it's a commitment. Oh, by the way, our poll question, what's the game of the night in the NHL? We'll be talking about those with Jersey Jim coming up next, brought to you by Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. Yeah, we'll be doing ticket giveaways from our Facebook page at The Rod Pedersen Show. They were like, Rod, do you want to do some live shows from Craven? I think I do. Yeah. So that's going to be fun. Follow it, countrythunder.com/SK. Proud to welcome to the RP Show family. Same goes for Jersey Jim. His appearance brought to you by prairiepanels.ca. We'll be right back with NHL Full Press's Jersey Jim right after this on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues. It's your reminder to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. It's free. You can find it at rodpeterson.com. Click on newsletter. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Jersey Jim here from NHL Full Press. Oh, I don't know, Jimmy. Anything going on in the NHL this week? You tell me.
I don't know. Little birdie told me, first of all, Rod, glad to be here. Glad to be with everybody again on the show. I think there's a couple things that happened. I think something happened in Vegas, coaching change, GM change happening in Toronto. Where shall we begin?
Well, you're the guest. You tell me. Let's go in chronological order because we're kind of a little leafed out for a second, although I did read your wonderful article to NHL Full Press this morning. But on the Tortor, it's not so much about Bruce Cassidy being fired. I don't think everybody's as shocked about that, given the struggles of the Golden Knights. But a lot of people shocked that John Tortorella was the replacement. What's your take on the whole situation?
Sorry to cut you off there. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Definitely shocked for sure on the John Tortorella piece. I know he had said with colleagues at ESPN that he wanted to coach again. You know, you saw him in that assistant role now twice at Four Nations. You know, he seemed to be working with the players. When I saw firsthand at Four Nations in Montreal and Boston, he was giving a lot of young guys advice, you know, helping them. He wasn't the strict guy that we seen behind the bench, but he's the type of guy that can give you a boost. Now, is this the 2000 Devils where Larry Robinson came in with 8 games left and they go to a Stanley Cup? That's one extreme. The other extreme, it just doesn't work. The Golden Knights have to play better defensively. Torts has a great defensive system. But again, with Vegas, I think a lot of it, not only, look, Bruce Cassidy's a hard guy, saw it in Boston. But if you're telling me they're butting heads, butting heads works when, you're winning championships. I get it. But again, I've put this out on Twitter, other places. The National Hockey League, if these guys were college football players, you'd be getting the same thing from Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells, the list goes on. You want to win. Greatness has a price. Cassidy is a winner. So, again, Torts is going to come in, maybe be that Yoda-type coach, maybe be the wise old man now. But Vegas got to turn it around, but they also got to look at their roster because it's older and slower and it's not as good as it used to be.
Good stuff. Randy Moeller told me a story last night. I asked him, what do you think about Torts? He goes, I broke his jaw in Buffalo. I said, what? He goes, he was the assistant coach of the Sabres. He goes, I fired a slap shot into the bench, broke his jaw with a puck. He goes, he didn't talk to me for 6 months. He didn't talk to anybody for 6 months. His jaw was wired. This was a conversation we had last night, Randy Moeller and John Tortorella. Okay, and then to the Leaf thing. I facetiously say I'm tired of it. My God, I don't have a choice. We're going to be listening to this forever. And do you think there's an odds-on clubhouse favorite who will be the next GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jim?
I mean, if you read the tea leaves and you listen to reports and you listen to what Keith Pelley has to say about data-driven and thinking outside the box, but the net's wide open. Again, the guy that everybody's starting to talk about picking up steam, former Vancouver Canucks general manager Mike Gillis. His name seems to be a big name right now. Are they going to rush into a decision? I would not rush into it like they did last time with Brad Treliving. Because Dubas left, Shanahan, the contract dispute, did he want 2 positions? They were left kind of holding the ball. You get Treliving. Don't rush into this thing. I understand you have a timeline. You want guys in by scouting combine, and you want guys in by the draft, but you got to go through a thorough search here. You got to get the right person. And look, I know Keith Pelley said, hey, it's going to be a retool, not going to be a rebuild. We got foundational pieces. But sometimes you need somebody outside the organization to tell you, hey, it's going to take a long time for the Leafs to get back to wherever they want to be. They weren't even close to being there. Like, everybody needs to realize that. Yeah, you lost in Game 7 to the Florida Panthers, but you laid 2 eggs on home ice. That's not supposed to happen if you're a championship caliber team. There's a long road ahead. They have to figure out who wants to be there, what players want to be there. Like, it's a mess. Like, when Craig Conroy took over Calgary Flames, it was a mess. He went to guys. Who wants to be here? Who are we moving out? We got to get draft picks. The Leafs don't have any of that. There's going to be a lot of tough conversation, and I think Keith Pelley's got to have to listen to guys that have been around the business, has seen a lot of things, and tell them sometimes, yes, you want to hear some things, but you're also going to have to hear things you don't want to hear. And right now, the big thing is, what does Austin Matthews want to do? What does Nylander want to do? Who are really your foundational pieces? Because let's be honest, if they only have 2, you could probably move them and start over again.
Oh, well, we could go on this for hours, and maybe we will. Like you just said, they need to look at themselves. Way back at the start of that, you said they need to look at themselves. What I've found, Jim, is dysfunctional teams don't do that. Dysfunctional companies don't do that. Dysfunctional families don't do that. Like when William Nylander said last week, I have my thoughts on what's wrong here, but I'll keep them to myself. Maybe Keith Kelly should bring in wee Willie Nylander and say, what do you see, Willie? But have you, like Jim, you've been covering the NHL a long time. You've been around sports a long time. The good franchises do that. I don't think the Leafs would 100%. Do that.
No, they don't. Like they have an organizational problem top to bottom. Like most teams, as we know, you've been around it, your dad was around it. Good teams know management, ownership run the team. You know, you don't want to be Jerry Jones and be too hands-on, but you let your people run the team. The players don't run the team. It's flipped in Toronto. The players run the team. Management just goes by what the players want to do. Because if Toronto was really serious about winning, it would have been, all right, Matthews is X, everybody falls in underneath. No, everybody's got to get paid. Everybody wants their payment. Everybody's got to get paid. Okay, fine, great. But that didn't work. You built around all these guys, and it didn't work. And then you send out first-round draft pick, prospect, don't let guys up, and now you're left with nothing. They have to look themselves really in the mirror because we see it in the NFL. We see it in all sports. You just said it. Good teams understand, okay, we really have to look at ourselves in the mirror. The Montreal Canadiens are the perfect example. Jeff Molson said, okay, Bergevin's way is not working anymore. We tried this retool thing. We have to really tear it down and get back to it. So they found the right model to progress and become a sustained winning team for the long haul.
Jersey Jim with us from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. Dude, you're reading my mind. I wanted to go next to the Montreal thing. We have so many Habs fans watch this show, and yes, we don't talk about them enough. There's no doubt about that. I'll admit it. But they go into Tampa Bay and slap around the Lightning, who are the Eastern Conference betting favorites to win the Stanley Cup. What is it, 7 wins in a row for that? 6 or 7 wins now for the Habs? My only question is if they have the goaltending, because they have everything else. What do you think is possible for the Habs this spring?
Look, I mean, in a wide-open Eastern Conference, why not the Montreal Canadiens, right? I know a lot of people are going to say pump the brakes. They may have some other issues. When it gets to the playoffs, are they physical enough? Can they? I'm telling you right now, if they're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, they're going to play like that, they're winning the series. Like, they came in. Tampa thought they were going to push them off the ice. Montreal said, no way. Not happening. You touch our goalie. You touch one of our guys. We're coming after you. Look, Tampa's getting back to the old Tampa Bay Lightning like they were. You know, Florida picked it up. Vegas, be nasty. Well, Montreal realized after they got beat up by Tom Wilson in the playoffs, they got to get nasty. Jacob Dobish can steal them a series, too. Look, we've seen it. Montreal has history with that. Patrick Waugh, the Drydens, right? Carey Price. When they get a hot goalie, they can go. Why not the Montreal Canadiens? The Eastern Conference is wide open, and they've shown they can play with the best teams. Their experience last year is going to help them in this year's playoff.
From the audience, Rich in Edmonton says, don't forget the Leafs walked away from Hyman for nothing. For sure, but that was before Tree Living, if I'm not mistaken. Like there's a litany of bad decisions that have been made there long before Brad Tree Living showed up. Utah Darren writes in, he says, hey, we here in Utah would be thrilled if the Mammoth could get to the second round. Well, what I hear in the NHL circles, and I don't know what you hear, Jim, but the biggest reason for the Mammoth surge is ownership. They love this Ryan Smith guy. He's a great guy to work for. What are you hearing? Because that team's been terrible forever. All of a sudden, they're in the conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. Ryan Smith, big deal because a lot of the players didn't like playing in Mullet Arena. It was cool the first year, right? Whatever, you're there in Arizona. Okay, it's cool. It's a novelty, right? But they want an NHL facility. They need a practice rink. They need all these facilities. Once the players got to Utah, there was like, okay, we're serious again. We're a serious team. Ryan Smith put money into the building. They're updating the Delta Center, got him a new practice rink. But Bill Armstrong is making subtly nice moves along the way, picking up a Mikhail Sergachev. Now you got Mackenzie Weegar in there. You signed Nick Schmaltz. They had the drafting, now the defunct Arizona Coyotes, but the drafting and developing by Bill Armstrong and that team set them up for what you see now in Utah. It's unfortunate they couldn't do it in Arizona because Arizona deserved to have a winning team, but there's too much ownership problems there. Now you have stable owner. Guys want to go to play in Utah now because the money that they're getting, players, it's a destination for players now, and it's because of the owner. And yeah, if I'm the Utah Mammoth, if I'm a fan, yeah, I expect to be in the second round because who out of the Pacific can't we beat? Like, the Pacific is a pillow fight. If they match up with any of those teams, I know Edmonton's playing better, but who's to say they can't beat the Edmonton Oilers or Vegas or Anaheim, whoever finishes in first, right? They have a chance to get to the second round, if not a conference final. They have a really, really good team with a really good goaltender, Logan Cooley stepping up. Like, this Utah team is – everybody expected them to be playoffs last year. I think that expectations were even higher this year, and you're seeing it. They're battling in a tough Central Division.
Well, and I said there is something to be said for this pressure. There's no pressure on Utah. This Utah, Darren said, they're just happy to have a team. He said it here yesterday. Whereas, look at Leafs, grease fire. Rangers, grease fire. Dallas Cowboys, grease fire. Miami Dolphins, grease fire. And like those pillar franchise markets, Giants and Jets, grease fire. God, word gets around, guy. Like, you want to be in a place where it's fun to play. I think there's a lot to be said for that, especially in today's NHL. Now, speaking of New York, Laverne writes in from the Frontier City, says, another goalie fight last night, Jim. Is it just two frustrated goalies wanting to stand out, or what's the scoop, do you think?
Yeah, great question. I know Jacob Markstrom after the game said, he was just frustrated, but he was looking to give a team a spark. Sheldon Keefe had said, you know what, look, that's a competitor. That's a guy who wants to be competitive. That, Igor Shesterkin got bumped. I joked with you and said maybe Bob over the weekend said, hey, Shesterkin's got to go fight. Get the trio of Russians fighting because we've seen Vasilevsky, Bobrovsky, now Shesterkin fighting the top three Russians along with Sorokin hasn't fought yet, but you never know. The season's still young. It's not over yet. He may like to throw hands too. But the Devils are frustrated. The Rangers, look, they're starting to come around, play those young kids again, but the Devils, the expectations this year for New Jersey, they didn't live up to them. Too much outside noise, got in the room, it affected the room, the trade rumors, all that stuff. Jack Hughes getting hurt, just poorly structured, and you saw it on their play. And again, last night, they just coughed one up, and the Rangers took advantage of poor play, poor execution. But always fun to see a goalie fight. The fact that we got 3 this season is really cool. But the goalies are feisty this year for some reason.
Most goalie fights in 22 years. I'm sure you saw the stat. And I don't know who looked that up because I know the NHL is not promoting this, yet it gets all the highlights. Well, hey, this interview is flowing way too well. What do I say, Jim? Every time we chat, I'm like, better, best one yet. They just keep getting better and better. And you brought up the Devils. Like, last year, was that a blip? Or was this year a step back? Like, where are we on the Devils? Who are the Devils?
I think they got to figure out who are they, right? Are they a rebuilding team? Are they still taking steps? Are they a consistent playoff team? Are they listening to the outside noise? I think a lot of people expected the New Jersey Devils to be in a conference final by now. The young pieces with the Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, you bring in a Timo Meyer, your defensive Brett Pesce and Brendan Dillons and these Siegenthalers and the Hamiltons. You had Luke Hughes and Simone Nemec on the back end. You thought you solved your goaltending problems, which I still think they did. But defensively, they didn't play bad. The focus of, and I think where the numbers and the hockey field come into, this is a Devil problem with their analytics and everything. Oh, we need depth scoring. Is it 10, 20 goal scorers, all this stuff. They needed to address a top 6 goal scorer to help Jack Hughes. The offense still runs through Jack Hughes. When that doesn't happen, the team struggles offensively. They need to find a nice balance of Jack Hughes and the Devils with everybody else. God forbid he goes down again. They have to find a way to keep going. That's what they're going to have to look themselves in the mirror about. Do they need a 2-tier system when a president of hockey ops is Tom Fitzgerald safe? And one day he is, one day he isn't. But I think if they do make a change, they're going to bring in a president of hockey operations because they just can't have one guy have 2 roles anymore. It's too much for one person, especially in New Jersey. This team needs to take multiple steps forward next season because at some point you have to look at the core and say, okay, where do we go from here? And do we have to break it up?
Taylor in Calgary writes in and says, do you think the Flames could be real contenders in the next 2 to 3 years?
That's a great question. I think they want to be contenders, at least competitive, when that new building opens. Obviously, the new building is going to host the World Cup of Hockey. That's what Craig Conroy has always been eyeing. He's got some nice players there, nice young pieces. Obviously, Zane Parek's going to be a great piece on that back end. They're drafting. If they can get we've talked about this multiple times on the show. If they can finish with a top 3 lottery pick, somehow get like a Verhoff, a McKenna, somebody like that to just accelerate it a little bit, that would be so huge for this team. But they've done things the right way. I think it is 2 to 3 years away. I think it may be a little bit longer. It's gonna take a little time, but there's patience. The fan base kind of wants it. They want to take that next step and see what this young group is doing. They have a lot of nice young players coming, and Calgary's going to be right there in a couple of years.
I will say this. I'll put this to you. I need your help with it because you and I have been talking on our various shows about this tanking accusation against the Panthers. We got 12 guys hurt, right? They're icing a minor league team every night. I mean, they're not tanking. And as I was talking to some of the Panthers people last night, they're like, it's just fans. Is it just fans that are saying that? Because I feel like there's media accusing them of that, or am I wrong?
Maybe outside media, because I don't think anybody in the local media, right? Like, the local-ish media, because I include myself in that. I don't think anybody – I think the conspiracy theory of, look, the Panthers won a Stanley Cup last year, everybody's hurt, and then they can finish with a first overall pick and get back there. It's like, yeah, but Barkov went down with an injury. Kulikov got hurt. Seth Jones got hurt. Brad Marchand
Everybody got hurt.
Everybody's hurt. Everybody's banged up from 3 long playoff runs. Like, let's be honest. Like, they're resting guys, load management, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but a tanking team doesn't go out and win 6-3 against the Ottawa Senators, who are playing for a playoff spot. They've been even with this minor league roster, they've been competitive in games. Yeah, some nights they're not competitive, but they've had leads against a lot of. They had a 2-0 lead on the New York Islanders, and just the second period got away from them. You were there, you saw it. Like, they're competitive. Paul Maurice will not allow his team to go away. Florida Panthers will play that identity, whether they win or they lose, and they're going to be back again next year. Yeah, and if they have a top pick, great. If they draft somebody, great. If they trade it away for something, great. Everybody's hurt. Everybody needs rest. Come back and do it again next year, because that's what they're eyeing right now, is getting back to a Stanley Cup.
We have 1 minute. You perked up when I mentioned the Roller Hockey International coming back.
I loved
truly
it.
Engaged?
Yeah. I love Roller Hockey International. I'm rocking my Rock and Rollers jersey. I got one back here. I went to a bunch of games. Jersey's got the Jersey big roller hockey place. Played ice and roller growing up. Loved it both. Roller hockey, so much fun. I hope RHI comes back, and I hope there's a real backing from it, because I think if a major league like the NHL gets really behind it, it could be a place for a lot of guys to go play, because there's a lot of former NHLers that still play roller hockey, especially at Norwich. So I love to see it come back. I want it back so badly.
I'm glad that I asked you. I did not realize that was a New Jersey rock and roller jersey. In a way, I feel a little guilty, because there's a lot of people doing a hell of a lot of work behind the scenes on this, and it's coming together faster than I think even they thought that it would. So stay tuned, Jim. You'll be the first to know. Thanks for the time, brother. NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com, Jim Biringer. Keep up the great work, Jersey Jim.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good day.
We'll be coming right back, everybody, with a sports update and viewer takeover. We got a lot of great, comments coming in as I continue to battle this cold. Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As the RP show continues here on Silver State Sports, got a lot of great comments coming in from the viewers here, which I'll get to in a second. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in, says, Jersey Jim is a gem. Yes, he is, and I love that New Jersey Rock and Rollers jersey that he was wearing. I'll probably be told once I get off the air to pump the brakes a little bit on this RHI 2.0 thing, but they said, go ahead. Roller Hockey International is coming back, the famed inline hockey league from the 90s. I forgot about the New Jersey Rock and Rollers, so everybody's excited about it. I'm sure let's just say very preliminary conversations have been had about a team in Las Vegas, but they got enough teams in Vegas. So I don't know how that's going to go, but it's a lot of fun to talk about. We got a website. We got social media coming. I'll stop and talk about what's going on today or tomorrow. Robin Windthorst writes in and says, Bruins are licking their chops heading into Florida tomorrow night. Save your time and lick yourself. Get out of here, the Boston Bruins. Sports update. The Seahawks will be on this summer's edition of HBO's Hard Knocks, marking the first time since the show's inaugural season in 2001 that it will feature the defending Super Bowl champions. The runner-up Patriots will appear on next year's edition. This is part of the news coming out of NFL owners' meetings in Arizona. Basketball, Doc Rivers, Amari Stoudemire, Candace Parker, and Elena Del Don are reportedly among those who will be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame's class of 2026 this summer. The official announcement and full class will be revealed on Saturday. Baseball, the Mariners have signed minor league shortstop Colt Emerson to an 8-year, $95 million extension, locking up their top prospect with the largest contract ever given to a player before making his MLB debut. He went number 7 overall. in the draft. And from the NBA, in LA's win over the Cavs, LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most wins in NBA history, including playoffs. And Luka Doncic became the third youngest player ever to reach 15,000 career points, trailing only James and Kevin Durant. Sports Update is brought to you by our friends at the Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them in store or click over to ultimatefanzone.ca. The poll question today, brought to you by our friends at Country Thunder, Rockin' Craven, July 9th to the 12th, is what is the game of the night in the National Hockey League? Your options are Vancouver at Colorado, St. Louis at LA, and Anaheim at San Jose. It ain't much of a contest. Running away with the poll is Ducks and Sharks from the Shark Tank tonight. And coming back in the next segment, we'll make our picks on tonight's games, brought to you by our friends at Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late. We're a sports bar, as their manager, Cool Kevin Smith, is fond of saying. We do those picks every day. 902-518-3033. Actually, I'll do the picks now. I'll get to some of these other notes that I have later. Vancouver, Colorado tonight. Avalanche. Everybody's beating Vancouver. Blues at the Kings. I'll say the Kings, but I'm not confident in it. And San Jose, home to the Ducks. I will take Anaheim. Sorry, I'll take the Sharks at home because they need a little more themselves. I did have something come across my desk for you Vegas fans. George McPhee, the former Hobie Baker Award recipient out of Bowling Green State University and currently the president of hockey operations for the Golden Knights, is the recipient of the 2026 Lou Lamoriello Award as announced by the American Hockey League Coaches Association. The Lamoriello Award is given to a former college coach or player who has distinguished himself in his profession after college. It is named after the former Providence College player, coach, athletic director, and NHL executive Lou Lamoriello. So congratulations to George McPhee, president of hockey with the Vegas Golden Knights, for winning the Lou Lamoriello Award out of the American Hockey League. We will be coming back with overtime right after this. Any final questions and comments? Fire them my way. 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat, and we'll return right after this. Last time out. You're watching the RP Show on Silver State Sports and the Game Plus Television Network. Also YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. So pleased to have you aboard with us here on the RP Show. It's the final segment. It's Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And there's a lot going on. Trust me, we can handle it. It's a full-time job staying on top of it, however. But, hey, if you ever want to have some fun and escape the madness of the world, drop by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Whether you're in Calgary, maybe on a road trip, visiting family, whatever you want to say. Take the team. If you live in Calgary, go check out what everybody's talking about, where skill and fun collide. I call it an amusement park for hockey players. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary, where they are now authorizing specialized shooting training as well. Oh, I have a news release here, has crossed my desk from the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames announced today the signing of defenseman Axel Hurtig to a 3-year entry-level deal. Hurtig, a native of Sweden, captained the WHL's Calgary Hitmen this season, posting a career-best 19 points from 6 goals and 13 assists. So there's that. When I say there's a lot going on, got an email here from College Hockey Inc. The men's Frozen 4 is going on this weekend. Here is attached. You will find this week's NCAA Division I Men's Hockey Notebook, Frozen 4 edition, as well as the media kit and pronunciation guide. I look forward to catching many of you up with me in Las Vegas. That's in Vegas? I didn't even know. I guess I got to read that. That'll be fun. Speaking of, Jamie Heward will be with us on Thursday's RP show in this hour from the Henderson Silver Knights, the American Hockey League affiliate of the Vegas Golden Knights. And as I was saying earlier, it just makes me feel good that all these things are coming together in my world. Jamie is a part owner of Craven Country Thunder. They're a brand new partner of the RP show. They bring you the poll daily. What is the game of the night? That's today's question. What's the game of the night in the NHL? I see they're all fighting in the comment section. Oops, staying out of that. The Roller Hockey International thing is fun. I guess I'll talk about it for as long as you guys want to talk about it. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in, he says, Tiger Williams was one of the owners of the Vancouver Voodoo of the RH. We know. Tiger is a very close friend of mine, as you know. I'm not gonna get. This is nothing to get upset about at all. Chris is watching in Vernon, British Columbia. He writes and he says, "Sorry, I know you most likely said something on a previous show, but I missed it. Where has the moose knuckle gone? I haven't seen him in a while." Well, you need to watch more. Number one, because he just hosted a RP show last week. on Friday when I had to fly to New York. So Moose was here. So I guess it is kooky of me to think people are going to tune in for 2 hours every day, producer Corey? But I'll tell you, through 1,709 episodes of the RP show, that's a lot of shows. Moose founded this show. He was the original owner of this show, the co-host of this show. We're talking about Darren DuPont, for those that don't know. I nicknamed him Darren Moose DuPont. If you ask where he is currently in Palm Springs, California, because I just talked to him this morning. Okay? He is working with a company as the executive producer and content lead, broadcast streaming service, where they do USA football, USA flag football, Grand Slam of curling. So Moose is a busy guy. He joins us when he can. So is that okay? I feel like I get asked it every single day, but that's okay. People care. He's a close friend of mine. That's an important thing. Utah, Darren writes in, he says, Michigan is in both Final Fours, the Frozen Four and the Final Four of basketball. Great job. You know, I'm glad that Utah, Darren, you've stuck with us through the whole show, because, as you know, we don't talk a whole lot of Salt Lake City sports. So thank you. But obviously you like what we're talking about. I sit here and look at all these other shows. With the NFL, I had a point in here of what's going on with them coming out of the league meetings, but literally everybody else is talking about that. And if they're not talking about that, like rule changes, the referee union standoff, they're making things up as who's going to start more games for the Falcons this year, Michael Penix or Tua. Like, I'd rather talk about what's actually going on. Brent in the Bridge City writes, and he says, I always enjoy listening to Jersey Jim. Thanks for the great show. Take care of that cold and feel better soon. Well, it's funny because I felt like I hadn't been anywhere for a real long time. So I was telling my neighbor, Harry, say, I'm going to New York. I haven't been anywhere for a long time. He's like, you were just in Palm Springs. Oh, yeah. When you used to travel all the time, if you go a few months between travel, it feels like a long time. But I picked up this cold in New York. Because you've heard me talk about my advisor, Lisa. She's from New York. She goes, how was my hometown? I said, it was loud, it was cold, and it was crowded. She goes, hasn't changed. Other than that, though, it was amazing. I had such a great time at Madison Square Garden and UBS Arena. Yes, Jeff's the Stamps fan. There will be a football Friday. There will be on Good Friday. Thank you for asking. We'll be here. And that's where we will jam that football talk into of all the leagues. Kevin, the medium, will be with us. He doesn't maybe know it yet. And we'll talk about me beating him 3-2 in our UFL draft week 1. Yeah. And we'll be here Monday as well, just for those that are curious. We covered it all today. April Fools. Glad that we survived it. NHL goings on from Tuesday. Major League Baseball, our team is playing matinees today, so that's in the barn. Tiger Woods going away to treatment. That's a good story. That's a positive story. And how it turns out is entirely up to Tiger. This is actually where the pressure begins. The whole world's watching Tiger. What are you going to do with it? I think he's going to be a winner, because he always does. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same station, here on the RP Show.
That